Hi there, my name is Robin O'Bannon, and I want to introduce you to this project that I believe to be vitally important to all American citizens. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American must fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is in this spirit that we created the Promissory Note Project. When you start with faulty and flawed information, all that emanates from it is faulty and flawed as well. It has been my experience that for those who seek the truth, there's an answer to every question, a solution to every problem. And so many of the answers to the tough questions in my own life have been hidden in plain sight and were, without exception, preposterously simple. As our country continues to divide along lines that seem nearly impossible to define, we desperately cling to shadows of our national identity. In our country's short history, many things have been done right and many things have been done wrong. This amazing republic began as an exceptional and grand experiment. But it is my opinion that those who preceded us were far more aware of human imperfections, tendencies, and frailties, especially their own, than most of us realize. And they made us a foundationally sound, self-correcting republic. Our business is yet unfinished, as we were not meant to rest on the laurels or coast on the steam of our predecessors. But we were to build and improve upon our inheritance. And when and where necessary, we were to correct those things that were and are contrary to the foundational ideals of this republic. No nation has greater potential than the United States of America, and no nation is in greater danger of losing the privilege of bringing that potential to fruition than the United States of America. We are a nation divided and are in grave danger because of that division, and most of us don't even know how we got here. We're convinced that we are right in our intentions and our feelings and our convictions. We can't see how our lack of clarity on our own history makes us part of the problem. And those that wish our country ill or seek to use the United States resources for their own relief can overcome us, not because of who we are, but because we don't know who we are. Now let me explain how we are a nation divided. We are separated by the fluid man-made concept of race, with little to no knowledge of what it means or the history that brought us here. Like the movie trilogy, The Matrix, the world that we see, that we have been shown, it isn't real. It is of our own design. We have these different worlds running on parallel programs, different social rules of survival, etc. And because we seldom intersect, we seldom benefit from the best that we each have to offer. And separate from one another, we assume the worst. We speak the same language, yet we don't understand each other. We have even separated our histories, which, from a logical standpoint, is impossible to do. What we must realize is that there is no Black history. There is only the shared history of America. And the reason we can't seem to get it together is that the whole story can neither be shared nor told unless we acknowledge the fact that our collective destinies are inextricably linked, and they always have been. See, America is a family, and our family has the blood of all nations in its citizens. And so many of our citizens have the blood of all nations running through them. Yet our collective heart is breaking, and a family's heart is only as sick as its secrets. Our tendency to pick, choose, edit, scrub, sanitize, and otherwise manipulate history is what dooms us to repeat our history. It also keeps us from moving onward and upward and making real progress. One of our greatest, if not the greatest divider, what we call race. We keep using the words black and white as though they are conclusive, factual identifiers, yet what we are enduring is not about black and white. It's about an experience. The very idea any of this is about skin color is absurd. It weakens us, and it makes us vulnerable. Acts 17:26 says, "And hath made of one blood all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation." And those who work against the health, welfare, and security of this nation are using that absurdity, which is race, as a weakness. We continue to hand them the ammunition with which to shoot us. But when we know the whole of our history, America can begin to heal and thrive because of that knowledge. And when this student was ready, the teacher appeared. About 2 years ago, I met Ted Hayes of Los Angeles, California. Very organically, this man became a brother and a mentor to me. He's an advocate and an activist for the homeless, for veterans, and he is more than about civil rights. He is passionate about liberty and sovereignty for all citizens of this republic. He possesses a body of knowledge that came from inspired, diligent personal study and a concern for the overall health of this nation and her citizens. He taught me that one thing we can all do is go back into our history, find where we got off track, and apply the remedy of law as it was intended. And in an effort to do that, he has worked tirelessly to reach and teach all within the sound of his voice. All that he has sacrificed, learned, and continues to learn is with an eye singular to the healing of this nation. And we need your help. At the August 1963 March on Washington, in front of the Lincoln Memorial, Dr. Martin Luther King stated, quote, "In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness," end quote. This promissory note project, this work, has changed us. It has humbled and refined us, rooting out biases and insecurities we didn't even know we had, revealing a liberating level of love for all Americans we never knew possible. And in collaboration, that love has produced Promissory Note. It's an educational video series for the citizens of this republic that outlines just one of the many parts of the history of the United States that have been hidden in plain sight for over a century. A history that deeply affects all Americans in the United States today. Our primary focus? The Civil Rights Act of 1866, also called the full-bodied 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment is one of the least understood yet most misused amendments in the United States Constitution. In 2018 will be the 150th anniversary of the ratification of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the law that set the precedent for all future civil rights legislation. Due to centuries of experience after experience of those trying to entirely abolish slavery, The radical Republican framers of this law were well aware that there would be great efforts by their opposition to usurp it, and they were right. The framers had the presence of mind to not only place the 14th Amendment into the Constitution, but to write and fight to ratify the Civil Rights Act of 1866 that fully explains the amendment. This significant piece of legislation is so powerful, there is no limit to the problems that could be solved for the United States and for the world with its full understanding in both letter and spirit. Rest assured, the work that we have done here has nation-redeeming impact, and we need your help to produce and share it. Our initial financial goal to make this information available to the country is $5,000. Any amount you can contribute to this endeavor is greatly appreciated. It is our hope that this labor of love is just the first step in an ongoing legacy of study and enlightened work dedicated to all Americans. It's a work that will carry this country into the bright future commensurate with its incredible potential. As eyes, hearts, and minds are opened, efforts to bring the whole truth of our history to fore for the benefit of all Americans will begin to take on a life of their own. The desire to learn, to create, to contribute will rush through the country like wildfire, and its healing effects will as well. No amount you choose to contribute to this historical endeavor is too small and is greatly appreciated. And if you are among the first 150 individuals to contribute $50 or more to our initial financial goal, you will receive a hand-numbered certificate suitable for framing, recognizing you as one of the promissory note founding 150. This denotes you as a member of the small group of citizens responsible for the production and distribution of this reconciling information that is so desperately needed at this time in our nation's history. You will also receive regular updates on the project's progress, have access to the completed video project 2 weeks before its worldwide release, and as a founding contributor to this project, your name will appear in the video series credits as a member of the Promissory Note Founding 150. Most importantly, in the midst of the, quote, whirlwinds of revolt that continue to shake the foundations of this nation, end quote, as so clearly outlined by the late Dr. Martin Luther King, you will know that you contributed directly to the country's healing and unification through enlightenment and knowledge for the benefit of all Americans. Please give today. Thank you.